It's the Wrestling Caucus. I'm Peter A.
I'm Smiley Ariaga.
And today we're going to recap night two of WrestleMania 41. And to start, big news, WWE acquires AAA. What do you think?
I'm not really sure what to think yet, honestly. I haven't seen what they've done with a lot of the AAA guys. I don't know, like I guess I haven't really watched a lot of AAA. So I feel like maybe someone who has watched AAA for years would probably feel, I don't know, a little different, but like on one hand, like yeah, it could be good because like you're getting new guys, but it's like I don't know. Like how do you feel about it?
Well, on one hand, I kind of feel like maybe WWE is trying to take over the world, right?
Yeah, it feels weird like that.
But on the other hand, I think it'll be good for AAA to get into the States because for a long time, Triple H is not Triple H, Triple A. Their issue has always been distribution because I remember in like 2005 in the States, depending on your cable package or where you're living in the States, I used to be able to watch Triple A on, I think, Galavision. But then after a while, you wouldn't be able to see them in the States on TV. So I think with WWE, hopefully a few things happen. One, that hopefully AAA gets some sort of TV representation in the States. And also, hopefully WWE can help distribute their library because they have the Peacock deal, and maybe they'll shop it around to other platforms. Because that library is probably valuable. Because again, Rey Mysterio is on a lot of those AAA shows. And Eddie Guerrero's on a lot of those shows too. So there's a lot of value in that for WWE.
What about the
Um,
ones with Kenny Omega on it? Wasn't Kenny Omega on a couple of AAA shows?
yeah, but I'm not saying, have all the library, everything all at once or whatever. But at least you have the library. You have a lot of a lot of that stuff to do what you will with that. So I think it'll be good, in that regard. And getting AAA guys on NXT, sending NXT guys to AAA, sending main roster guys to AAA to help them get them exposure, and it's another branch for WWE for guys and girls to learn because it's still going to function. It's not going to cease operations, at least right now. So a lot of the talent that are, let's say, like a Jade Cargill can go to Mexico and learn a whole lot, right? So it would be good. Like it's like an extension, not. Um, I mean this in the best way. It could be an extension of like the Performance Center or like what they're doing with Evolve. So, I think it'll be beneficial. But again, I could be wrong. It could be a
So here's the thing.
disaster.
Unlike people who work for corporations, you think like someone like who is considering the company being acquired. A lot of times with acquisitions, it benefits the company, but not it more so benefits the company, but not like and not the company being acquired, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, right, exactly. That's also a possibility, right? But also, again, I don't know. It's tough because I don't know. I guess it's kind of hard to really know what's going to happen from this until things start happening. You know what I mean? But as of right now, I just kind of see it. It could be good for the wrestlers to learn and for some guys from AAA to get exposure in WWE. But then it's like whoever gets over in AAA, it's really for WWE's benefit. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, was there ever a time where a company got acquired by a bigger company and it benefited that company that got acquired?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, acquisition is just kind of a nice way of saying, yeah, you're ours now.
No, yeah, that's what it means. Like they bought it. They own it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it's not going to be like WCW where it's not going to be operate, even though when it happened, there was talks of WCW just operating kind of separately, but that never happened. Then the invasion thing happened. We don't want to unpack
Oh
that.
yeah, we're gonna
So
get the AAA invasion.
no, 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 yeah, but I don't know. To me, I just want the library, you know. That's kind of selfish, a selfish wrestling fan. Um, and yeah, I guess it'd be good for the talent to learn something. Um, but yeah, that's yet to be seen. All right, WrestleMania night one. It opened with Jey Uso and Gunther for the world title, and the finish. I thought this match was great overall, but what did you think of the finish? Because Jey Uso tapped out Gunther. Do you find this believable at all?
Gunther should have passed out and or waited at least more than 5 seconds to tap out.
Yep.
Because if you're gonna have a guy tap out, a guy like Gunther tap out, you need to have him wait a while. Like a while. I've seen people who didn't tap out in matches actually make me think that they were gonna tap out. Gunther was just like he tapped out so quickly. I'm like, dude, they could have either had him pass out or just wait a bit, like a little bit. That's literally probably the one part about the match I wasn't a big fan of.
Or like two or three splashes, just a regular pinfall, or they could have done like like a schoolboy. Gunther does something off the top rope again, and Jay counters it into a pin. And I thought, and you catch Gunther by surprise.
Yeah, no, no. I see. Here's the thing: after literally giving each other their finishes, ending it on a schoolboy would have been like, what? You know what I'm
No,
saying? Like,
I don't know.
at,
I don't have a problem. I wouldn't have a problem with that. I just care about a believable ending, a believable finish, something
yeah,
that I
yeah,
can buy.
yeah.
You
That's
know,
what I'm saying. Like, me personally, after seeing these guys give each other their entire repertoire and each other's repertoire, to me, it would be a little unbelievable for him to win with a schoolboy. But I know what you mean. Like, I would have just rather him pin him after the three splashes and a power bomb, maybe if you're gonna give if because he wanted to win with one of Gunther's moves, right? So like have him like power bomb him or something like that after the splashes and then pin him. Like, Sami Zayn pinned him when he beat him. Like, I don't know. I guess he wanted to win with the sleeper because he choked out his brother. That's
yeah, I get
fine.
that. Yeah, I
That's
get it.
fine. That's great. Like, but just I was only bothered by the fact that he tapped out so damn quickly. It was very quick.
Yeah, I thought, yeah, like listen, like Jey Uso as a solo guy in the whole Yeet thing is over as shit. People wearing the Yeet shirts, and it was time to pull the trigger on Jey Uso. Not bad that he won. I just think they also should protect Gunther a little bit. And him
Like
just
just a
tapping out
little
right
bit.
away, yeah, just a little bit. I didn't really buy that. But overall, it was great. It was a great moment, and yeah, it was honestly it's one of my favorites from both nights. One of, not the absolute. Um, but yeah, I just the finish could have been tweaked a little bit, but no real
Look,
complaints about this match.
every I think every match we're about to talk about, minus maybe one, was
We're
better
not
than.
going through the whole card.
No, no,
I'm
I'm saying,
just yeah,
well, like if you were to talk about every match, I think every match minus the one with the YouTuber. Honestly, no, you know what? Never mind. Every match was probably better than the main event tonight. At least for at least, I mean, for night two, meaning. I think every
yeah.
match was better than the main event for night two. But
Yeah, yeah. We'll talk about why that's not, why it could be a problem at least today. But like, if you know WWE, probably it's kind of what they do. But anyway, we'll talk about that later.
looks like a duck, acts like a duck. It's WWE.
Yeah. So Tiffany Stratton, Charlotte Flair. Tiffany beat her, which is surprising. You think this is a one and done, or
I don't know. I don't really care to see them wrestle again. I was just happy to see. Like, I don't think anything they can do after this is going to be better than the satisfaction of the fact that Tiffany actually fucking won. I
yeah,
was
it was
like
pretty decisive. It was a pretty decisive finish too.
Yeah,
So
I was like Eddie Murphy in his comedy special. She fucking won. Like, I thought they were gonna I kept saying it for all the shows we do. I thought they were going to bury Tiffany. I thought they were gonna bury her.
they had a pretty good match too.
I mean, yeah, they did. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, they did. I mean, and this is probably be considered a bigger hot take. Screw it. This is what I genuinely believe. I think Tiffany looked better than Charlotte in this match.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, everything that Charlotte was doing. I don't know. I know she came back from injury. I get it, but like everything Tiffany did just looked decisive to me, decisively better.
Yeah, Tiffany looked great, and for someone from her, with her experience level, she did amazing. But Charlotte did great too because she has to make her look good. Triple H and Batista, some of those early matches weren't great because of Batista's experience, but Triple H made Batista look really
I mean,
goddamn
Triple H had
good.
a hell of a lot more respect for Batista than these two have for
Well,
each other.
backstage stuff
Yeah,
aside,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't care about that. I'm talking about in the ring. Both of these ladies, they did an amazing job. And when you think about some of the other matches on this show, I thought it was great. For the build up wasn't great, but when they got in the ring, they both of them knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really want to see this match again. If it happens again, okay, but don't need to see more.
I mean, I'm biased. I'm not, I guess I'm biased because I'm not, I've seen enough of Charlotte Flair. I've seen probably the best of what she's done. Um, so I'm good. But yeah,
All right, probably the biggest thing from night one was Seth Rollins aligning with Paul Heyman and pinning Roman Reigns in the triple threat with Punk. What do you make of all this right now?
uh, I didn't think they were gonna, because I thought Seth, you know, like I thought Paul Heyman screwing over everyone and aligning himself with Seth was kind of the obvious thing that was being teased. So I didn't think they were actually gonna go with that, but the way they did it was really cool. Uh, and maybe this hopefully might give Seth a little more of a serious. This is wishful thinking. This is maybe might give Seth more of a serious edge having Paul Heyman there, but I don't. Yeah, I don't really know what that looks like. Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins. That's definitely
An
somewhat.
odd combination.
Yeah, it's a bit of a clash of styles. Like, but I don't know. Like that, it helped Roman a lot. It helped Roman a lot, and obviously him and Punk were just a match made in heaven. Paulie and Punk. So I hope this leads to either Roman and Punk having a one-on-one. But I think if they do have a one-on-one, it will eventually lead to one of them getting their lick back on Seth or Paul Heyman. Like that's kind.
Yeah, Uh, yeah. I'm not opposed to this combination. I just don't want to see him and Punk again. I'm kind of over it right
Yeah,
now.
I was over Seth. I mean, Seth and Punk, they had their climax before. Like, yeah, I was saying, I was saying the last show, like this should have been between just Punk and Roman because we haven't seen them wrestle like this yet.
Yeah, maybe part of John Cena's retirement tour, he wrestles Punk again. Who knows? But to me, I think it's interesting because it's something we haven't seen before. Not sure where it's gonna go or what maybe um I don't know. Maybe Paul Heyman and Seth align with The Rock and Cena and all them. And then you do this big War Games thing with Punk and Roman begrudgingly working together, and you do that for Survivor Series. I
The
don't know. That
Rock
could be
being
something.
here and spearheading all that would have been nice for night two.
Yeah, he
That would have
doesn't.
been nice.
He I think in this whole story, wherever this is, he has to be a part of it, but he doesn't need to be there every week because you know The Rock is on the board of directors in storyline and in real life, and you could just have people do your work and then show your face in every now and
No,
again.
but like he should have been. I'm not saying he has to be there every week. He should have been there for WrestleMania.
He should have been there, and at least in the build up to Mania, one or two Smackdowns or Raws, he should have showed his face a little bit. Yeah, he does.
Like or at Mania, like at the actual thing that you like the big
Yeah,
deal
yeah,
thing. If there's any play, I don't even care that he wasn't on Raw and SmackDown a lot. Be at Mania, like you're the one who spearheaded this.
yeah. I think he should have been there.
Yeah, but like the triple threat with Punk, Seth, and Roman was amazing.
It was awesome.
That's probably one of the best matches of the whole weekend. That was absolutely excellent. Like yeah, everyone was crazy about Seth. Roman and Punk shared very interesting looks at each other afterwards. They were like, "Wow," because I was talking about how this whole thing was like a jealous son feud between Roman and Punk, And in the end, they both looked at each other like, damn, I guess we both got screwed by a guy we thought was like our father figure, our mentor. It
Yeah,
was
and
very
also,
interesting.
yeah, the fact that this match wasn't for anything, it doesn't matter that CM Punk or Roman didn't win because it wasn't for a title or nothing. So the fact that Seth won is like, okay, you could do that. But again, yeah, I agree with you with hopefully this alignment with Paul Heyman means that we get a little bit more serious Seth because when he is serious, he's great, but it's hard to take him seriously while he's dancing and wearing wacky outfits and the fans are singing along to his stupid song. It's hard to take him seriously. He's not like a Danhausen where your aura and character is like well thought out and it's so overwhelmingly entertaining. Seth is not that kind of guy. Seth is shines, you know, because he takes his job seriously and you know, the idea that he's such an amazing he's so great in the ring. He outdoes everybody. That's what Seth Rollins is. That's what makes him interesting. That's why he was the top babyface for a little while there in 2019. But yeah, hopefully this again, I agree with you. Hopefully this means that we get a little bit more edge from Seth Rollins.
Yeah, like, but other than that, a standing ovation for CM Punk is a hell of a way to close out night one of WrestleMania.
Yep, and the fact that he brought out Live in Color again is amazing.
That, yeah,
Yeah,
easily the best entrance of the weekend too.
agreed.
Like
Night two, this is one of my favorite matches on both cards. The Fatal 4-Way Intercontinental title match. Dominic Mysterio pins Finn Balor. And it looks like Judgment Day is kind of going to hell because Raquel and Liv lost. Um, Dominic pins his own and Finn Balor. Carlito's interference got him speared through the announce table. So I don't know.
that
What's
wasn't the
next?
worst. That wasn't the worst spear Carlito has gotten in the past few weeks.
Nope.
No, it was not. But yeah, that was Jesus Christ. Yeah, I usually always complain about Fatal Four Ways, but I don't know. Yeah, WWE more often than not does triple threats and Fatal Four Ways way better. This match was very good. I thought I was afraid it would be overcrowded, but it was very explosive and like just like the other triple threat of this weekend. There was a lot that happened, but like everyone sold everything well. Everything was paced well. It felt like all of them were fighting for something and not just trying to get to their next spot. Yeah, this was awesome, and I'm so happy Dominic won. That like I'm very big on Dominic. He's a wonderful heel, even though everyone like does. It's like almost people like don't want to admit how much they like him because he's very good at his job.
So great. He's so great. And if we get a Penta versus Dominic one on one, that's money right there.
That
That's
would be,
cash money.
yeah. See you soon, baby.
Yeah, that clip you sent me was
That was a year ago, and I was like,
amazing.
God, that was amazing. I loved it. No, it was like it felt like it wasn't a year ago, but it was like yeah when Pentagon first came in, like that little interview was so entertaining. I wish they put that on TV. That was so great.
Yeah.
Like yeah,
Um, yeah, I think hopefully the Judgment Day is over. They don't need to stay like why do they need to stay together anymore? I
the
think it's
the
over now.
the only thing
This
I
thing
miss.
peaked.
Yeah, the only thing I miss about the Judgment Day was that awesome theme song. That was one of the best theme songs in wrestling. Like,
Yeah, your ace is Damien's gone, Rhea, they both left at the same time. It's over. It's over.
yeah,
Let's end it. If Dominic wants to form his own little thing, cool. But like this Judgment Day thing it's over to me.
yeah, like Carlito's gonna lead the Judgment Day.
Yeah. And here's
God.
another thing with the AAA relationship. I know Carlito was mostly, he did a lot of stuff in Puerto Rico, but you can send him down to AAA to work with some like younger talent. It's some new people too. Like that's a you could do that too. But and Dominic too. Dominic can go down there. and do another match with Ray for the Mexican audience. I think that would be cool
If you actually
eventually.
do another show in Puerto Rico, you can put a lot of at least like some of the best AAA guys they have there
Yeah,
on
yeah,
that show.
they definitely would get over there. So okay, Randy Orton's mystery opponent. We have the TNA World Champion Joe Hendry. What'd you think of this?
This was when he first appeared, uh I was like, okay. Because we were talking about, oh, who could it be? Like we were thinking about like people who weren't Joe Hendry. And no, this was fine. This was very funny. I'm glad it was a squash match. I don't and like, you asked me if I thought it made him look silly. It made Hendry look silly because it had amazing those amazing last couple minutes. I mean, I don't know. His gimmick is already a little silly. Like he sings his own theme song and he looks like a character from Ted Lasso.
Yeah,
Like so. I don't know. I thought it was fitting for him. Now, if this had happened to AJ Styles, he gets murdered in a dumb fashion. Yeah, I would have a problem with this. But for Joe Hendry, I'm like, yeah, it's fine.
yeah,
Uh,
but he's the world champion of a company that
TNA.
they have a relationship with.
Yeah, that is also true. That is also true.
So it is also it's a little bit weird. I mean, I thought the moment was awesome. It's exactly what it was supposed to be.
Oh my
Um,
God. Wow.
but yeah, the RKO spot when Joe Hendry turns around, he looks at the crowd, does that little thing, and then Randy Orton comes out of nowhere. It was amazing. But then you didn't have to RKO him again.
You
You
knew that
know?
was good. Like, no, no, like I agree that you didn't have to I agree you didn't have to do that again. Even though when he got him up and it was like, hey, he was letting the crowd acknowledge him, we all knew like he's gonna do it again. He's gonna do it again. He did. But I'm always all more for more serious like moments. Like I was saying like as soon as this match ended, I was like, what if like Jeff Hardy came out and like wrestled Randy in an impromptu match, because like not only like as you were saying, I remember you saying it would have been kind of poetic, but also like it really would have been nice because Jeff Hardy obviously his past couple years have not been the best for him, and this would have been like put him back in a more positive light and like brought back some good memories because like Hardy and Orton was such a great feud. Uh, if you're gonna use a TNA guy, like Jeff Hardy would have been cool, but it was good. This was kind of good. This seemed like kind of good for Joe Hendry, but at the same time, you are right. Yeah, he is the TNA World Champion.
Yeah,
And
I thought it was a good idea to have Joe Hendry out there. He's definitely the most popular guy that's not in WWE or AEW. So it was a good rub for him. And it probably means that WWE probably believes in him. So like let's say if Joe Hendry, lose the TNA belt and his TNA contract runs up, I'm sure WWE wants him. He was in WWE before, but anyway, they probably want him and they probably see big things in him going forward. But I just think they again, just like the Gunther match, just protect him a little bit more, just a little bit. But honestly, I thought because I don't know what the status is with Nick Aldis's health. I'm sure he wants to wrestle again, but I remember him doing interviews like a year or two or three ago. Like he's not in any rush to get back into the ring. He wants to learn all aspects of the business because again, Nick Aldis is a guy who sees the future. He knows that his time in the ring is probably limited, but if he can learn some skills that can help him be a part of the business he loves, because Nick Aldis, I don't know if you've seen interviews with him. This guy loves wrestling. Like it's his life. He loves it.
yeah,
So I think in any way he's involved, he'll be happy. But it would have been cool to see him go against Randy. I've like a Nigel McGuinness thing that they've been doing in AEW recently, which are great moments. Um, something like that would have been cool. But what they did here was great. I thought it was nice overall.
a match with if Nick Aldis and Randy Orton had wrestled for 5 minutes on this show, it would have been one of the best things on this show. Like, because
Yeah,
Nick Aldis is, I don't know if a lot of y'all have seen him. He's amazing.
yeah, he's
He's
fantastic.
he's very good.
Very
So
good.
5 minutes, like 5 minutes of them wrestling would have been excellent. I wouldn't mind that. I was hoping for him, if not anyone else.
Yeah.
But I was also thinking, what the hell? Yeah, Jacob Fatu would have been nice. I would have rather Jacob Fatu wrestle Orton than I forgot.
No, Jacob Fatu should not have been in this position.
No, well, not murdered by him. I mean, if they actually had, because like I've seen them. Didn't they wrestle on SmackDown or something like that? It was really good. Orton
Yeah, it
and
wouldn't have been a
Fatu.
surprise.
Yeah,
If you're gonna have Randy
yeah,
Orton, um, a surprise opponent for him, and it's a guy we see already, it wouldn't have been as interesting. What they did here was perfect. I just thought that maybe just protect him a little bit. That's all, because
yeah,
he's the champion.
yeah. You see. Here's the thing. What happened to the TNA World Champion at WrestleMania is why I fear for AAA because like
Oh yeah, yeah.
you're gonna see their world champion get killed.
Right, right.
Ay, boy, oh
We'll
boy.
see, we'll see. Because when you look at a Vikingo, right? He was there. You could tell like they probably have huge plans for him.
Yeah, he's gonna
You
do a
know.
triple flip right into an RKO
Yeah,
on his
yeah,
debut. I mean, hey,
yeah.
you know?
um, yeah. All right, Becky Lynch came back. What'd you think of her winning the women's tag team titles? Does that mean these titles are slowly starting to be revitalized?
Uh, I think it's weird how they weirdly cut out Bailey just to bring back Becky Lynch. You could have done that.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
Yo, this is
A
the
little
second
weird.
time they have brought back Becky Lynch, and it was like, yay, she's back. But then I'm like, wait, why did they do it like that? You remember when they brought back Becky Lynch to squash Bianca Belair?
Yeah. At first, I thought it was like, oh, but it wasn't a good idea.
No.
Yeah, because that's
Like,
someone you were really trying to push at the time.
yeah. I
But
mean,
luckily, Bianca turned out fine. But at the same time,
yeah, like, I don't know. I just wish you didn't have to sideline Bailey. Because Bailey gets attacked on a WrestleMania pre-show. Apparently, she got attacked on the WrestleMania pre-show.
yeah, um,
Ugh, I don't know. I mean, look, I'm happy to see her back, but it's just like, why do it like that?
yeah, yeah. I thought that idea. I'm okay with Becky being back, and these women's titles needed to be revitalized. But and also Bailey went through the whole gauntlet with Lyra, so
Yeah.
it kind of poured water on that angle going into this. Um, but I'm curious to see where this is going to lead. Does Bailey turn heel on Becky, and we get a heel Becky and babyface, not a heel Bailey versus babyface Becky
I
down the
don't.
line?
I
I don't
mean,
know.
Bailey a heel again? I don't know. Like, I think it's kind of been proven that Bailey's. I like Bailey better as a babyface. I don't think you need to turn her heel again. Maybe Becky heel again.
Yeah, but if you could do that. But if you're taking Bailey out of a match for storyline purposes, and she's replaced, and now Becky is has the title that she could have won,
Yeah, yeah, that
it's a
works
little
actually.
uncomfortable. It's a little weird. So what do you do there?
No, that works actually. Yeah, we say it like that, yeah, that works. I can understand why Bailey would be mad, but maybe that's another way you can turn Becky heel by saying like, well, you know,
Tough shit,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like
Like it's
John
easy.
Cena, like
Yeah,
she could do what John Cena does. She could say, "Well, it's best for business for me to be the champion," right?
yeah,
You could do that. There's many things you could do.
yeah. I have different feelings about the John Cena thing. We'll get into that.
Yeah,
I've
and
been thinking about
also
that.
I think hopefully this leads to like, let's say if Bailey gets a partner as a heel, right? And you could do that because the men's tag team division, that's like a whole nother conversation. We don't have time for that. But the women's tag titles needed something. And I think this may be it. This could be something.
Didn't we say this last time? Something.
I'm holding out hope. I'm holding out
Yeah,
hope, you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
Because if they didn't give a shit, this they would have taken the women's title match off the card completely, right? So
yeah.
it looks like they're trying something.
Yeah, I just couldn't help but think like you did all that with Bailey just to replace her the way you did. You didn't even replace her on the Go Home show. You didn't
Yeah,
even
which
replace.
is yeah, right.
I don't know.
Which is why I think maybe something they have something planned. And I'm waiting. I'm gonna reserve judgment until I see what they do.
Yeah,
Okay, main event of night two time. John Cena beats Cody for the undisputed title. What do you make of Travis Scott's involvement in this and also the finish?
I feel like what I was worried about might be happening with Cena and the whole thing of him trying to ruin wrestling, quote unquote. I get what he's doing, but here's the thing. I see a lot of people already gaslight wrestling fans love gaslighting each other. I see a lot of people saying, "Well, it was supposed to be bad. Didn't you see him say he was going to ruin wrestling?" There are so many better ways to be a heel than to purposely suck. If I'm not saying, look, I hope what I'm saying doesn't age well. I hope what I'm saying doesn't age well because if the goal of this is to create some dumb thing where it's like I'm purposely sucking to piss you off. The Young Bucks did that because they admitted that hey, we were having bad matches to be heels. That's their idea of being a heel. Like
That's not what's happening here.
I look, I hope it isn't. I fear it might because it's just like I don't know. I thought this ending because like when you compare it to I know they say comparison is the thief of joy, but like Jesus Christ, that main event last year for both nights, absolutely outstanding. Hell, the main event
Unbelievable.
for night one was outstanding.
Yep.
And the main event for night two for Cody, after everything Cody has gone through, he gets this. This was, I thought this was frankly bullshit because like it's one thing like to be annoyed at Logan Paul, but like to be I can understand that people are annoyed at Travis Scott because one, the last time we saw him, he actually hurt Cody like the way in a way he wasn't supposed to, and then you bring him back just to stand there like an idiot and take a funny looking crossroads, but that makes Cody look like a jackass. He lost not not even from interference from The Rock, the guy who wanted his soul interference from the guy that made let's just say the theme song for WrestleMania has more personality than Travis Scott has. I I don't know. It's just
Do you have a problem with John Cena winning or just a problem at how it all was put together?
if he won and it didn't suck, cool. If he like I've seen Cena like do like have better heel performances by accident when he was a babyface. Like I don't know. This was just like it was just boring. Like this is one match of the night I fell asleep during,
Yeah.
and not
And
because I was tired. I don't know. It's just
I thought this match was disappointing. Um, because I understand what they were trying to do. The story they were trying to tell is that it really got under John Cena's skin when Cody said that the fans used to tell you that you couldn't wrestle. They never said that to me because Cody's been booed out of the building so many times in AEW. They never said he couldn't wrestle. They just didn't like him. So they try to do that here because remember in the beginning they tried to do John Cena was like doing headlocks and they were trying to do some mat wrestling. The problem I had here was I thought Cody was selling for John Cena a little too much. It was a little there was a little too much heat, and I feel like they should have been brawling more. It should not have been just doing wrestling moves and Cena gives you a shoulder tackle and you're selling like crazy
yo,
for like 15 minutes.
Cody kicked out of a when Cody wrestled AJ Styles, he kicked out of a burning hammer at one.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he's dying from Cena hitting him.
It psychologically was kind of weird. And also, it wasn't that like the last like 10 minutes were fine. I did like the false finish of Cena hitting the attitude adjustment after Cody took a few shots to the exposed turnbuckle. I thought that
Oh,
was kind of cool.
that happened, dude. I really did fall asleep during this. I don't even remember the exposed turnbuckle.
It wasn't great. It wasn't a great match. And I don't think it was quote unquote bad on purpose. But I will say this. I think actually we know this already. You know, WWE's not trying to have the best wrestling show. They're not. Then this is not about having great wrestling matches. They want an entertainment thing.
But last night wasn't. But it wasn't entertain. It
They
wasn't
want
even
to
entertaining.
yeah, they want to just a show, right? To me, it looked like an 80s WrestleMania main event. Just a lot of hoopla, but it wasn't Flair Steamboat. They're not trying to do that.
No, like
You
I'm
know
not
what I
saying like
mean?
yeah, like they don't have to like you
Not
don't have
making
to.
excuses for it because
No,
I didn't
yeah.
really enjoy it all that much. And I think that's what they're trying to do. Like you're not I would not go into especially a WrestleMania main event as like, man, we're gonna see some wrestling, a good wrestling.
No. But like no. But here's the thing. I'm not saying they have to do Kawada and Kobashi
Yeah.
because Cody and Roman Reigns are not fucking Kawada and Kobashi.
Yeah, you're right. Because the main event last year, it was not that. There was a lot of hoopla. There was a lot of stuff happening, but it was way more interesting.
And plus,
It's way more dramatic.
they worked well together. They looked like they were trying to have a fight. They looked like they were clocked in to work. Like Roman, like Roman was not only a better villain, but it was a better match. Not because they were doing freaking like catch wrestling and crap, but they were actually having a good wrestling match in the sense that they were having a fight, a contest for a world title that Cody failed once at getting, and now he's fighting again, and it was his last chance. You were invested in what they were doing. I did not give a damn about watching these two, Cody and John Cena, wrestle, and that makes me sad because on paper there's no excuse as to why these two can't even have. Yo, Cena and Punk were wrestling for 5 minutes in the Elimination Chamber, and it was better than this entire match.
Yeah, it just like there was not a lot of drama. I didn't feel invested towards the end. And also, okay, the finish it was stupid. And not because Travis Scott got involved. I'm not mad at that. I know why they did that. Because I'm sure today and for the rest of the week, people who don't watch wrestling regularly, they're gonna say, "Oh, Travis Scott was involved with WWE." So I get why they did that.
I mean, are they? I mean, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
That's their mentality. Whether or not that's gonna happen, it has remained. It's remained to be seen. But it made Cody look stupid because Cody and John were looking at each other face to face, and they were tussling for the belt. Cody didn't want to hit him with the belt. So in front of Cody's face, he kicks him in the nuts. Then he hits him with the belt, and that's it. It was if you want to do something dastardly and win underhandedly, I mean, honestly, look what MJF's been doing last 2, 3 years. Especially the Bryan Danielson match. Okay, it's a little bit different because AEW's mentality, at least for that match, was like, we're going to have the best wrestling match. That was the story. Max was saying, I'm the best wrestler in the world. You know what I mean? He wanted to prove that he was better than Bryan Danielson. And what did he do? He wrestled him for an hour. He did not wrestle him. He was out of breath. He was blown up. He had the oxygen tank. And then he used that. He hit Danielson with it, and that's how he won. So
Because
like, and it was outrageous. I was like, "Oh my god, that was horrible." MJF is a scumbag. They didn't even do anything as interesting like that. Something if you want to make John Cena look like an asshole, do something a little bit more dramatic. Instead of just kicking somebody in the balls, that's what they did with AJ Styles and Nakamura years ago, and it sucked.
yeah, look, with writing is a simple philosophy. Hero saves the cat out of the tree. The villain kicks the dog. The villain doesn't purposely bore the crowd. The villain is not supposed to bore you. Listen, a lot of times when bad matches happen, people like to say, "Well, it doesn't have to be Flair and Steamboat." No, we're not asking for that. Have like, I'm just asking for them. It just looked like there was no urgency.
There was no
Like,
drama. Like
yeah,
last year's main event had drama.
like
This one did it.
this was the reason we couldn't have Punk and Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, it was this match. It was boring. I don't think it wasn't purposely boring. It was just boring.
No, but I no, but here's the thing. Like I said, I hope I'm wrong. I hope my fears don't age well. I'm afraid they're going in that route
I don't think it
because
is. It's
because
not.
see this
It was
whole
just
thing.
dull.
I don't know.
This
Like,
was this was a okay, like WrestleMania 3. You seen WrestleMania 3?
what was the main event today? I think
Okay,
that was
it was
Andre and
Hogan
Hogan.
Andre.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe that's a bad example because that match was actually interesting.
Yo, they gave a fuck during that match.
Yeah, that
They
match
gave a
was
fuck. And Andre
uh
was on his way out, and they gave a fuck.
yeah, like okay, Ultimate Warrior and Hogan that was also interesting too. Okay, like a WCW main event from like 96, 97, like Hogan Savage during that time. Those main events were not great because these guys are trying to do as least it's very little as possible and get paid the most money. And the Rey Mysterios and the Eddie Guerreros and the Dean Malenkos and eventually the Chris Jerichos were putting on we're getting the crowd interested. But the thing is, like Hogan and Savage are household names. People are going to pay to see them. Um, and that's what that was. Here, it's like Cena's getting older. He's not going to do. I don't think it's purposeful. I just think that this is a WWE style main event. This is what they do. Have they
No,
done
but
better? Yeah, but this is a classic WWE main event. You know, a lot of hoopla, but it was just boring hoopla. It was
yeah, it's
just
the thing.
boring. It,
Yeah,
it, it
like
wasn't purposeful, but it was boring as hell.
he doesn't have to do a springboard stunner. He doesn't have to
Yeah,
do crazy
right.
shit. But look like you're trying to win a world title.
Yeah,
Look like you give a shit. That's the thing. That's why that's why it looks like to me it just looked like they were trying to have a boring match. That's how boring the match was.
I think they tried some. They were trying to do something, and it failed, or they weren't trying hard enough.
They weren't trying hard enough.
Not Cody and John Cena themselves. Like, because again, we all know WWE is meticulously organized, right? So whoever was putting this match together, I don't know, or maybe they had a plan, and maybe The Rock was involved in the plan, and last minute he was like, "No, we're not doing that," and we got this, but it was just a dull match. I don't think this needs to be overthought and overanalyzed as to what happened, and it was purposeful. People were purposely going to business for themselves, or just purposely phoning it in. I don't think that's what happened. I think WWE was doing a WWE match, but it was just boring and dull.
That's the
We've
thing.
seen that before.
They were outdone by matches that had not even half the build up that this match had.
Yeah, you could say that about a lot of WWE shows in the past.
I don't look. I don't.
WrestleMania 25 is a perfect example, right? The best match on that show was Triple H, was Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. You know what the main event was? Randy Orton and Triple H, and those two guys are great, but it was dull and boring, and it had a very dramatic build up like this, and but at the end of the day, it was just a match that was there that was forgettable, and unfortunately, that's what we had on Sunday. That's what we had.
You see, here's the thing. Triple H and Randy, that match was boring. That was under Vince. I thought the whole
No,
idea wasn't that under Vince?
yeah, it was, but what does that mean? It's part of the. This is still WWE here, you know. This is WWE. Like this is a textbook WWE match,
I don't
and that's
know.
kind of the problem. That was the problem. It was a textbook WWE match, you know. But remember, this ain't pro wrestling. This is
Then
WWE.
why have it in a wrestling ring?
Okay,
Why wear
again,
wrestling outfits? Why I don't know.
this has been WWE for 50 years. This has always been WWE, but it was just boring.
I'm
It
just
wasn't
saying
exciting.
last year hinted at them doing something better than they normally do.
Yeah, but that match last year, that was not pro wrestling.
It wasn't even
That was
just that.
WWE.
No, but it wasn't even just that. And I'm saying I'm not asking for headlock takeovers and stuff like that. Like last year, it wasn't even just that match. The whole card last year was captivating from top to bottom, and not because everyone was trying to outdo Kobashi and Kawada. It was because each match had urgency. Each match, everyone looked like they cared. I'm not saying you don't have to do everything under the sun, but this match was like like a huge downgrade from last year. And
Yeah, it was
last
boring.
year,
It was a boring match.
yeah,
Yeah,
like I don't know, like
it was boring. It was a WWE match that was boring. It wasn't interesting. That's all. That's really it. There's nothing really more to say. All right, it's Wrestling Caucus. I'm Peter A.
I'm Smiley Ariaga.
You can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. Later days.